I mean, this video should have been a long time coming, but it's just recent developments that have happened have just made it so that, yeah, I should, and I have to, because there's just no freaking way people are just being this blatant about how I'm only pedo-jacketed because, you know, I hurt their feelings. So, if you guys have seen, they're probably like, I don't know, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, but they're like 20,000 exposed videos on me. And you're probably wondering why that is. Well, it is because I offend a lot of people. I mean, if you're in my live streams, you already know that I could be a little offensive. I could get under people's skin a little bit. So of course, they're going to try to find any little thing to come back at me. So I will admit I'm not perfect. You know, I've been called a narcissist. I've been called a racist. I've been called a straight up doxer. I'd like to think that I'm just kiwi-pilled. But regardless, let's get on to the heavy accusations that people have leveled at me, and then I'll show you receipts. And then by the end of this, you can decide if I'm all the things that these people are claiming. So the first misrepresentation I see it's just a flat out lie. Why am I calling it a misrepresentation? This is a flat out lie. It's that MrSEN engaged with a minor and stuff, and that's the big one, I'd say. Anytime you get that accusation, it's like that's the biggest one, right? Unless you're Dr. Disrespect, in which case you could talk to all the minors you want. But unfortunately, for my rogues gallery and people that don't like me, that is untrue. Besides the fact that these people want to neglect to mention that I was 18 turning 19 at the time, which I'm sure is not a sign of bad faith at all. They also regret to mention and show these receipts right here. So the person that was LARPing around as the person named Kitty, who was also, their name was like Emma, or what they were LARPing around as, they actually ended up being a Mandy archetype. If you're here for my Ricada coverage, you know what that is. So I got Mandied, except I wasn't a 40-year-old man having a midlife crisis. I was a horny college student. I'm just trying to get the lewds and the nudes of pretty much any chick I could talk to. It was more of like a cringe, but like a conquering kind of thing. I don't know. It's just a body count thing to add. At the time, I thought it was cool to be like this big YouTuber with like, I don't know, groupies or like whatever. I don't know. I thought it was cool at the time. It's pretty cringe. But anyway, this person over here pretended to be a chick, and they pretended to be 24 initially, as you can see. But later on, they changed their age. And when I flat out asked them, they say that they're 18 or whatever. So, you know, pretty standard stuff. But again, like, you know, the bad faithness of everybody is going to make them selectively crop out certain screenshots, probably rearrange them. Like, I know the whole missing context thing is used a lot, but in this case, I think I've proven that that's the case. Like, oftentimes you won't even like see people put out certain screenshots that would vindicate me from all the claims. But again, it's like one of those things, like, if you want to work a narrative, of course, why would you show that? And, you know, most of the people that dislike me are pretty bad faith. I mean, for sakes, one of them got called out literally for defending a pedophile groomer while condemning me for less. The reason this fucking idiot, along with many others, have done this is because I've hurt their feelings or I don't want to be a part of their stupid little cause. Claim number 2, there was CP in the logs. This was actually brought up by my ex-friend Lily, who had been defending me from being called a pedo for like 2 years. Like, it's weird. Lily called me one for like 2 hours on his stream initially because he was mad at me because I was quote-unquote racist in his eyes. This is a grown man, by the way, fighting with somebody, I think I was 17 at the time. Okay, whatever. This is a grown man fighting with a minor or whatever. So it is what it is. He's not very up there either. I won't divulge any more of his dirty little secrets, but he's the last person that should be doing any of this shit. Regardless, he started making claims that, oh, there was CP in the logs, and that's why I had to re-expose you, Sen. The truth is that I was calling his friend a bad father for supporting a Vanoss crew member that had sex with a minor, because I don't think that's what a father, a good father, should be doing. And the shilling and grifting was off the chain for this. And I didn't feel like biting my tongue, since they weren't exactly playing very friendly themselves, more on the passive-aggressive side, but whatever. Lily decided to call me whatever off of this and make just a complete lie about there being CP in those logs. Unfortunately for Lily, he forgot that when they were defending me, they were actually pressing the Kiwis that collected the logs. And I have proof right here. They were actually pressing the Kiwis that got the logs and saying that if there was like illegal shit, why didn't you go to the police about SEN or whatever, or the catfish Mandy person. I called him Mandy Light. And they just flat out say, well, there wasn't anything in those logs that was illegal. The lolicon was the worst of it. So again, like, you know, that kind of disproves Lily's little narrative and shit. And it's kind of funny. He himself worked to disprove the narrative and he didn't even know it. Hilarious, bro. Alright, and the final one here is that SEN engaged in lolly roleplay. In order to prove this, they take selectively, from what I've seen, selectively cropped out shots and they misplace them with other, because there was Sting in there. And yes, that is very gay in hindsight. You know, 18-year-old being tricked by like a 30-year-old guy or whatever, right? Because they have some kind of issues in their head. But to assume that I got any gratification from these images is, well, at best it's stupid. At worst, it's disgusting. Because truthfully, when I saw these images, I was a little confused. A little bit of context at the time. I was actually an Anituber. I had been an Anituber since I was a minor. That's where I got my initial flux in subscribers. When you're in that anime community, or just, you're bound to show up with this. This is the separation that I'm starting to see from the anime and the manga community, and the people that are really hardcore into anime, like the actual weeaboos that want to be weebs and stuff, and the people that are just like casuals to the stuff. Like, to them, a drawing is just a drawing. Just like if they play Persona 5 or Persona whatever, and they're like 20, they don't think, oh my god, I'm romancing a high schooler, this is so bad and pedophilic. Like, it just kind of like whatever, like, you know? And that's kind of what I saw with like the Catfisher when they were posting this. Like, there, besides the fact that there are like multiple screenshots that show that I'm not interested in this, like one of them where I literally say I'm only interested in this if it's you, and I'm sure they're showing like one of the lewd images, the lewd anime images, and I specifically say I'm only interested if it's you, the person, right? Or if it's just this one flat out where they say, do you want me to call you senpai like a lolly or master? And I opt for master because guess what? Not into lolly roleplay. Like, you would think, right? Occam's razor for this, and in case people don't want to, like, they just want to move on with this point. Like, if I was into lolly or lolly roleplay, would this sentence not be the time for me to engage in that, or like give hints that I want that shit? Because again, they're flat out saying, the catfish is like, do you want me to call you senpai like a lolly? And I just say, just call me master. I don't know about this. Like, I kind of get it. Like, I get the wording, the verbiage and shit. People that want to be like, either like they don't understand or they want to be bad faith or whatever, they're just gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna like pretend that that's not a thing. No, but these words were commonly used a lot. There was a YouTuber that literally made a living out of like making lewd jokes about lollies or something. I don't know. I think they were lollies. It was that Neptunia shit or whatever, right? His name was like Lost Paws, and he was growing astronomically and stuff. You just heard terms like this all the time. There weren't really people in the anime community rushing to pedo jacket you. There weren't really people in Weeb Wars rushing to pedo jacket you, for that matter. And again, being an anime YouTuber who by some stroke of faith or luck ended up having a crossover with Lost Paws because I decided to make a video ranting about the anime man. Well, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where like, you're not going to alienate your fan base, so just let them like what they like and just move on, collect your paycheck, right? Again, like, in hindsight, probably not the best idea because that's how you end up being a Rev Says Disu. But like, again, bro, 19-year-old me wasn't really thinking about that.